leadership. But can I take 2 minutes and share with you about Caleb? Because Caleb don't get his dues. We're going to give him his props, okay? When you look up the meaning of the name Caleb, you're going to come across two meanings. They're not exactly sure which one Caleb means. If you look up the word Caleb, and it's a Hebrew name, in one instance you'll see that it means dog, okay? But there's another interpretation of Caleb as a root or as a compound word of kal, which means all or whole, and lev, which means heart. Now I want to see what the scripture says. Right here it says, but because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me what? Wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. I promise you once I'm done, you're going to look at Caleb a whole lot differently. See, because again, a lot of times, and it happens in church, it happens in business, it happens in a whole lot of things. We focus on certain people, and that's all well and good. But we forget the people behind the scenes that don't get as much press. If you found out their story, you'd be amazed. And so let me show you about this man called Caleb, because a lot of people don't respect him and don't appreciate what he did. So in Deuteronomy 1:36, this is the same thing basically coming off of Numbers. It says, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, he will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land he set his feet on, because he followed the Lord what? Wholeheartedly. So I tend to believe Caleb means whole heart, not dog. Okay, because he followed God with his whole heart. Now, Caleb is the antithesis of the 10 who were frightened. Okay, so 12 go out to search the land, okay, and 10 of them give a rotten report. Only Joshua and Caleb give a good report. Now, Romans 15:4, I'm giving you a lot of scriptures, but I want you, it says, for whatever things were written before were written for our learning, that we through the patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. I'm about to show you what Caleb did, so then you can say, give me my mountain. The spies were gone 40 days, I told you, and they came back with an evil report, and they didn't know God was sending them to test them. Why is God sending you to spy out something he's already given you? If he didn't already think, you're going to run into trouble and you're going to question what I've told you. So he let them go and spy out the land. They spied it out for 40 days. They went all throughout Canaan, all up the mountains, the backbone of Canaan. They went all the way up, and they came back, and they saw the fruit of the land. In fact, they brought the grapes, they brought the fruit, and they came back still with an evil report, even though God has said, I've already given it to you. Okay? Now notice that. Okay? So they were gone 40 days, they brought back an evil report, and they were in the wilderness for 40 years, 1 year for every day. In the New Testament, Matthew 17:20 says, and Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you. But here's what Caleb says. See, what Caleb tells me is there's some mountains by your faith in God, God will remove. And then there are other mountains, God says, I'm not going to remove it. You go conquer the mountain. I'm going to remove some mountains out your life, but some mountains, Caleb said, give me my mountain. See, but you read that and you don't really understand what Caleb was talking about. I'm going to break it down to you and show you what he means. Joshua 14:12. He says, now therefore, I'm going to take it back to Joshua because I want you to see the scripture. He says, now therefore give me this mountain whereof the Lord spake in that day. For thou heardest in that day how the Anakims were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. And if so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out. The first part of that should blow your mind, because he's talking to Joshua. Joshua already knows what happened. He was there. So why is he retelling the story? Why is he retelling a story to Joshua that Joshua already knows? You know why he was retelling the story? Because everybody who was 20 years old or older was killed. He was telling it for the young boys who didn't understand what we've been through. See, part of what happens with youth, and young people, I don't mean to say you're ignorant, but you think you go through things that people before you never been through. You think you're the first one that experienced loving somebody who turned you down. No, you think you're the first person that dealt with racism. No, you're the first person that dealt with jobs that against you. He's telling them, guys, let me share with you something. Because I'm telling you, my spiritual mind, Josh was sitting up there and he's just laughing. Because he already knows the story. He lived it with him.
Right.
And I'm going to show you later who he's speaking to. See, sometimes you got to tell the story. When young people today rise up and they say, man, we're going through all this. We're going through police brutality. Talk to the people who went through the Civil Rights March.
All right.
When they used to beat you with a club, hose you down, and stick a dog on you. And then you didn't have YouTube and all these other videos. They just threw you in jail and let you out at 12 o'clock when your parents came and got the money. See, what I'm trying to tell you, he's trying to let them know whatever you're going through, you ain't going through nothing.
That's right.
He's letting them, the young